flag. Okay, we're back with another candidate. But before we start, Nikki Grant, listen, I'm talking with a list because I went and got braces, and I'm not gonna let you all see. So
Well, you gonna have to just let them see because you out here looking funny, girl. Just go ahead.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I think you look worse trying to act like you don't have them on because everybody can tell. So you talking funny.
What we're gonna do is not pay attention to Sandra, and we're just gonna, work it out.
Okay? I ain't want you out here looking foolish, but okay, don't pay attention to me.
Fine. All right, I'm gonna give you the dates. Don't make me laugh, Sandra. Stop. Dates for election. So election day is November 8th. Don't forget that. Very last day to vote. Your last day to register to vote is October 11th. So that's what, next week sometime, right? Tuesday. So you ain't got that much time. So please register to vote. Early voting starts October 24th and it runs through November 6th. Don't forget, as soon as you get your mail-in thing, vote, mail it back. You can track it. Last day to request your mail-in ballot is October 28th. And I think that's it. That's all the dates that I have.
No, so those are the dates. But what happens if you request your mail-in ballot on the 28th? You can drop it off during the early voting period. You can drop it off at any location. However, on election day, you have to vote in your precinct. And if you want to do your mail-in ballot, you actually have to take it to the supervisor of election office. You're not allowed to drop it off into any of the drop boxes. So if you get your vote by mail ballot, deal with it early, drop it off during early voting because you can drop it off at any location. On election day, you need to go to your precinct or you have to take your vote by mail ballot directly to the SOE's office, which I think they have a location in Lauderhill and then another one like downtown Fort Lauderdale. Mm-hmm. I think that's true.
Mm-hmm. She says she thinks it's true. It's true. So we have Vice Mayor from the city of Tamarac, Vice Mayor Gelin. How you say it in English? We know Gelin.
Gelin with a hard G.
Gelin with a hard G. Okay, that's in English, and in Creole is Gelin.
Correct.
All right. Vice Mayor, he's running for mayor of Tamarac, correct? And
yes.
You may recognize him because one of his videos went viral. And it was a video that I am so blessed to have seen and appreciated all the commentary. But I'll let him talk about it a little bit, and we're gonna let him tell us who he is, where he's from, what he's been doing, and why he's running for mayor.
And why that public moment was important. Why it was important, and it resonated with so many people in that moment.
That's right. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for giving me the floor. Thank you for having me on the show today. I apologize for not being in my office. I like to have the professional background. I like to use my professional camera and have my lights going. But unfortunately, I am still a father and doing daddy duties. So I'm in my car while my son is taking his swimming lessons. So I was elected in November.
I don't want to cut you, but that's not unfortunate. That's fortunate that you get to do that. And also it shows us your commitment, your hustle, your grind, not only to your work, your constituent, but also to your family. And people appreciate that.
Yes, I appreciate it. I said that incorrectly. So that's not unfortunate, but I'm not in the environment that would look great on your show screen. So, but I've been elected since November of 2018. And since I've been in office, I have advocated and fought to make life easier for our residents. So one of the first things I did was I got the terrible, nasty red light cameras out of our city. Red light cameras pretty much served as a tax on our residents. All it did was make money for the red light camera company, cause more accidents, and make people act hesitantly instead of naturally when driving. It did nothing to benefit the community. So I was proud to get rid of that. In terms of implementing policies and laws, one of the first things I did was a study to determine, are we doing business with local businesses in Tamarac, small businesses in the county, and we were not. So I got 3 different ordinances passed. 1, a local business preference program. 2, a small business preference programs. 3, in order to really honor and show some kind of acknowledgement to our veterans, I got a veterans business preference program passed. So what these different ordinances do is Tamarac spends about $35 to $40 million a year. and we spend it on outside contractors, outside vendors, outside the Tri-County area. Now we have more of an emphasis and more of a focus on one, our local City of Tamarac businesses, two, local Broward County businesses, three, South Florida businesses, and four, our veteran-owned businesses. We all have seen and heard about veterans being homeless, on the street, struggling to find work because of what some trauma that they've gone through. When veterans have businesses, they do a much better job of hiring other veterans, and that helps the overall community. I'm disappointed that I was not able to get a disparity study passed so that we can implement a minority business preference program. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running, because the mayor does not support diversity or equity in spending. We spend less than half of 1% on Black-owned businesses and a very low percent on Hispanic-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. So if we're going to increase the economic opportunities for everyone, we must conduct a disparity study, because our numbers already confirm what we know. But the federal government states that you must have an independent disparity study done before you can implement a preference program for minority groups. So we must get that done to help uplift our women, our Hispanic-owned businesses, and our Black-owned businesses.
So
and we need a mayor that
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, we need a mayor that understands the importance of having a fair economy for all.
Okay, so but the fact that you've got you have things passed for local businesses, small business, and veteran businesses, Blacks, Hispanic, and women own businesses in that community. So why isn't it that they would just benefit naturally from the fact that you're focusing on doing business locally?
Because when you look at the actual spend, we've asked our contractors to identify themselves, and they have. And when you look at the identities of those, you'll see that our numbers are tremendously horrible when it comes to Black-owned businesses, extremely bad when it comes to Hispanic-owned businesses, and they're not great at all when it comes to women-owned businesses. So even though we have some of our Black-owned businesses that fall in multiple categories, we're still not getting fair and equitable treatment. And that's why the federal government says, have this independent study done to confirm that, and then you can put a preference program in place, which other agencies have done, including the School Board of Broward County, Miami-Dade County Schools, Palm Beach County Government. Multiple entities throughout South Florida has done it. Fort Lauderdale conducted a disparity study. And so when you talk about righting the economic wrongs that have harmed disparate communities, especially the Black community, these things have to be done in order to correct for that.
Okay, so I heard that you did another cool thing. Cool for me, but I don't know, maybe other people want. Is that in your city you guys also passed the ban the box, right? And
Correct,
some people are not familiar with that, but that is that's huge. So can you tell folks what that is, and then explain why is it that y'all decided to make a decision to ban the box?
Absolutely. So when people think about public safety, everyone just talks about arresting the criminals. But what people don't think about is the back end. Like 90% of people who get arrested are going to come out at some point, whether they spend 2 years, 20 years, or 30 years. Unless you committed a heinous act of murder or something like that, at some point you're going to come out. But the problem with our society is we treat ex-felons like trash, and we almost ensure that they don't have an opportunity to succeed when they come out. And so what the Second Chance Act does, otherwise known as ban the box, it says, you know what, we are going to remove the box that says you must check that you have a prior arrest or that you were convicted. And we're going to allow you to go further down in the interview process so we can truly understand your skills, your competencies, and your character before we determine whether or not you'll move forward in the process. So some people think, oh my God, you're going to hire criminals. No, you still evaluate that person, but more so for their skills and qualifications than their prior arrest record. So that gives people a chance, because right now, with so many companies and government agencies that do not ban the box, you're automatically eliminated once you check that box. Mm-hmm. So if someone's just coming out of prison and they're trying to, and they've served their time and they want to commit to living a positive and life in the straight and narrow path, but there's no path, then we're only giving them as a society a path of going into crime. And that does not increase public safety. We want these people who come back to have a true second chance, secure gainful employment, contribute to the economic tax base, and become productive citizens so that they don't feel that they have to have a life of crime which will only endanger and harm all of us. And
And
something that a lot of them don't want to do.
Right. And understand that when people think like felons, they always think like, oh, they're murderers, sex offenders, and all these things.
Yes.
A person can become a felon for taking an iPhone, right? You have these young kids, they get into these disputes
Yes.
they snatch their phone. All of a sudden, they can have a robbery charge, a grand theft charge, and they're a felon just for something like that you can easily explain, right? Also,
Absolutely.
your third driver while license suspended conviction is a felony. So if a judge wants to charge you as a felony for the third time you drive with a suspended license, and you know in South Florida, transportation is absolute trash. Half the time you can't get around. Some people got to take risk and get in that car and drive to work or whatever, and you get arrested for that, and all of a sudden you got to check a box that you're a felon, and people don't understand that you became a felon because you was driving while license suspended for the third time, and you ended up in front of one of those judges that don't understand what it's like trying to get around South Florida on public transportation. So again, don't always think of it in terms of like the worst case scenario of a felon. There are a lot of people that have felony convictions for things that are easily explained and that most people can understand if that person was given an opportunity to sit in the room and talk about what actually happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So the ban the box is only for the city of Tamarac, for your city. So any employer will not have that part of their application process?
Right. So what I did differently than what most public entities have done, and what the federal government has also done, is the federal government has stated that any vendor that is a contractor with the federal government must also ban the box. There's no real impact if we ban the box in the city of Tamarac. We have about 350 people. Most people that are in government jobs, they stay in government jobs because they're incentivized to, because of the pension plan. So that would impact a handful of people. The only way this law is effective is if we extend it to contractors that work with the city of Tamarac. And that's what I pushed for. That part of it did not pass. So what we did is any firm that also bans the box, they receive points when they try to win a contract. So it incentivizes potential vendors to ban the box. And a lot of large corporations have already done it, like Nike and Walmart and Target, a lot of organizations. So it's something that's getting more popular. If this commission changes, then we will extend that to all businesses that are contracted with the city. But right now, I don't have the support on the commission.
And I think there is a high level exec that's either with Nike or with one of the athletic leagues, probably.
Yes.
That was a convicted felon years ago, and he made it to a high level executive position because of his competencies that you talked about. So there's examples of where, like, people really do deserve a second chance, and if they're gonna be taken out of the process, let it be because they're really not qualified, not because, again, of something that can really be explained and understood if they're given an opportunity to discuss it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What else you trying to do for Tamarac?
So then you guys, you made reference to the video that went viral. So yes, unfortunately, after losing my first election from my first race for mayor in 2014, November 2014, I lost the election. July of 2015, I was falsely arrested by a police officer. And this is an example of why we need community policing. If this guy was really a part of the community, my face was everywhere. I had posters everywhere. He would have known my name and would have known, hey, this is not a regular guy off the street. Anyhow, I did not commit any crime. I did not break any laws. I obeyed his commands. He asked me to leave the scene of an incident, and I left the scene. What pissed him off was when I said, what about everybody else? Because the only reason why he asked me to leave is because I was recording the incident. And at the time, back in 2015, recording police officers in a video scene or in a crime scene was not very popular as it is today. And that's why he asked me to leave. So, 4 years later, this guy's being honored or recognized at a commission meeting. And, that did not make me too happy.
Wait, and did he still not recognize you and you're sitting on the desk? Okay.
So I learned later on after the fact that he knew exactly who I was. And I learned after the fact that he did not want to be at the commission meeting because he was afraid something like this was going to happen. I didn't know that beforehand, but I learned it afterwards. So, I wasn't supposed to be at that commission meeting, but because I saw his name on the agenda, I made sure I was there just for that portion of the commission meeting. And I made it clear to him that he did not deserve to be honored because I know him for his character, for falsely arresting somebody, and spent 13 hours in jail for absolutely no reason. And when the prosecutor saw the video, they immediately dropped the charges. And from what my attorney told me, he was so angry, he wanted to file charges against that police officer. So, people ask me if I have regrets. I have regret. Do I have regrets, or did I apologize? No, I did not apologize. And the only thing I regret is I regret being falsely arrested. I regret being mistreated. I regret the fact that this officer may have falsely arrested other people after falsely arresting me. And so if police officers fail to what's the word I'm looking for? They fail to police themselves and fail to discipline themselves, which is done in many other industries, including the as you know, as a lawyer, and physician practices, as certified public accountants. They all have standards that they must live by, and if you don't, your own industry leaders will penalize you. That doesn't happen when it comes to the police officers. They some of them, they hide, they protect themselves, and they allow people to serve a lot of time in jail for crimes they didn't commit. And it's not fair, it's not right. And elected officials need to do a better job of holding police officers accountable, because they have a very dangerous position.
And as you talk about law enforcement in the city of Tamarac, are you guys contracted with BSO, or do you have your own police department?
We are contracted with BSO. We are contracted with BSO. I brought up the idea of just conducting a study to determine whether or not we should have our own police department, like some of our surrounding cities, including Coral Springs, Sunrise, Lauderhill, Plantation, many others. I mean, BSO only has about 15 cities. So it makes sense for us to explore whether or not it will be more feasible from a safety perspective and a cost perspective to have dedicated police officers who only serve the city of Tamarac. And I did not have the support on the commission to even explore the idea.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Did you guys have your other services? You have like fire, water, that's all done with the city. All the other services is just not law enforcement, or everything is contracted out?
Yeah, so it's only law enforcement. And so one of the first questions I had when I came in was, look, if we're doing BSO police, then why don't we do BSO fire? And if we're doing our own fire department, why don't we have our own police department? So, as a newcomer coming in, I'm just exploring, asking questions, thinking about how we can achieve economies of scale. But I just think that everything should be examined and looked at in order to improve efficiencies and make our city a safer place for everyone.
Yeah, you had an event where you had some police officers from different areas. I remember I was there. I think, Sandra, you came a little bit.
Yeah, I was there too. That was before the pandemic, like right before the pandemic.
Before the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that's important and why that's leading into you looking for your own police department?
Yeah, so after the incident that went viral and caused, national news and some outrage, but a lot more support than outrage. In fact, the outrage mostly came from the law enforcement community, but believe it or not, a lot of folks in the law enforcement community came up to me, shook my hand, told me I did the right thing, and more elected officials need to do what I did. But it sparked a conversation, and I thought, you know what, it's necessary to capitalize on this and have that very important conversation. So I held the Cops and Community Forum. BSO, they were still a little bit salty, so they didn't show up. Unfortunately, because they would have had an opportunity to speak to their direct constituents. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why, I said, you know what, this is why we need to have our own police department, because here you have a third-party agency that's essentially a vendor, and a vendor that we're paying over $18 million a year says, no, we're not going to participate, and we're not going to speak to our customers. That's a problem.
That's a problem. And then you can't be in your feelings about something that's serious, right? Like, I mean, really, you in your feelings, this is not the place for that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It should be a feeling of collaboration. And I think that you did extend an olive branch.
I did.
To get the community to come together, and then for them not to show up it speaks volumes.
Yeah. And I think they believe that the show wasn't going to go on, but no, the show was going to go on and did go on successfully without them. So we had the Miramar police chief, we had a high-level police executive from North Miami, we had some professional counselors, we had a psychiatrist, and we had a very deep and engaging discussion about police officers and community relations and relations in the Black community, and having that very important discussion that we should have, and we should not wait until some tragic incident happens before having these very important conversations. So it was great. I want to do more of that type of activity. We recently conducted a police survey among the residents in the city of Tamarac, and the reviews were not great. So we have opportunities to improve.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, I was at that event, and it was interesting to see how different those police officers were, right? Because there was somebody there that was saying some things, right? That the community was like, listen, he was stressing people out, and I'm like, this is the reason why we have the problems that we have. But it's important, right? It's important to have that conversation. So because maybe nobody actually told him that what he was saying like is not okay, right? And then it was awesome. It was awesome that you had the psychiatrist and a professional there, because she talked about trauma, right? Which is one of the things that a lot those officers, I don't know what their training is like, and it seems it appeared to me that might not be part of what their training is, and it probably should be, because she ended up having I know that she had a separate conversation trying to explain why people in the room was like, dude, like this can't be the way you think about this. And then the fact that you do have a high level person in law enforcement that has that type of thought process, how are they training other officers, right? And that type of mindset, I think, is what kind of leads to what we ended up seeing that same summer, because this was 2020. And so then we saw George Floyd and all these things are happening, and that social justice movement pretty much brought to Front Street some of what was happening in the departments that they didn't realize they were dealing with, because they protect the blue, or that's the way it's always been done, and those types of things, right?
Absolutely. And when it comes to trauma, some communities don't feel that we face trauma, but when other communities face mass shootings, different situations, all kind of resources are provided and available, but some of us experience trauma all the time. And in some of our communities where there's shootings and death and crime, no one talks about the trauma that some of our kids have to grow up with, and what they face, and the baggage that they bring to school and bring to their everyday lives because of the trauma they have to go up with every day.
And they find the money for those communities. And when our communities are suffering, all of a sudden, there's either we need to wait, or there's process that we have to go through. But in other
or you guys can handle it. You guys, you're used to this stuff. You guys can handle it. You don't face trauma.
And that's not to say that those communities shouldn't be funded. We're just saying,
absolutely,
like, treat us the same. You know what I mean? And even with that trauma piece, like, we right before 2020, there was all these Philando Castile, Sandra. These are all people that were dying as a result of traffic stops, right?
That's right.
I mean, for me, even like when I'm driving, I'm like, I remember I got pulled over because they said I didn't. It was like one of those like move over citations or whatever it was. But I'm like, if I moved over, I was going to get hit by a 18-wheeler that was coming. So he said, well, you should have went 20 miles slower. I was like, but there was whole cars behind me going too fast. Like, dude, like, it don't make no sense, right? But when he pulled me over, and I was like, they ask you for your stuff. I was like, I have to reach over here to get this for you. And I said, I want to survive this stop, right? I said it because it's true, right? Because I'm like, I gotta go here, and I don't want to do anything so I can survive this stop, because we just had all of these incidents. And he was shocked, like, oh my God, how can you say that? I'm like, how can I not say that, right? Because it's a real thing that when we're driving, I'm talking about Black folks. I don't know, other people may have the same thing, but for sure, Black folks, and we have enough evidence to show that concern and that fear is legitimate, and I just want to survive this stop. And you could tell he was like, oh my God, she didn't just say that. I was like, yes, I did. And I meant it, sir. I want to go home to my kids. All right, give me my ticket, go about my business, and I'll handle it later. So.
And it's not an easy thing we're all parents of children, Black boys. And I have to have a conversation with my son, who's 24 now. When you go out, make sure your wallet is where you can reach it. Make sure when you're telling them, we have to go through this whole spiel before they leave. Put your hands on the steering wheel. You let them know what you're doing before you do it. It's a constant thing. And then people will look at you and say, well, you really doing that? Yes.
Yeah, you have to.
Like this clear pouch that you can put on your car to kind of put the stuff in there so you don't have to reach. Anyway, I mean, that's trauma. Like, I don't care.
And in preparing our kids, we're in advance preparing our kids for trauma, and we're telling them you have to deal with this traumatic situation, even though other people may not have to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so
And in a sense, we're letting them know that they're different and they may not be considered as good or equal to someone else because they have to have an experience that other people don't have to have.
And they got to worry about it so early. Like it's just not something that they should be thinking about.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I don't think the majority group of people realize not only that it's just traumatic, but we are effectively showing the kids that there is a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And us. And it's not because we don't make up the rules. We didn't create the system. They did.
Yeah. Right.
When we put it back to them, it's always an issue. And so I think it's important that people like you who are running for office, who are making it very clear that they want to have these diversity research done and assessments done so they can make sure that everything is done fairly for everyone. It's a key component to having great leadership, right?
Yes.
The fact that the current mayor is not interested in doing that should be an alarm to the people that live in Tamarac that they're not going above and beyond, because at the end of the day,
not above and beyond, they're doing what they should do. That's not above and beyond. That's like standards. That's
right.
Like standards.
I agree. Yep. Doing what they're supposed to be doing to make sure that everybody in the community is considered. I know this is your second time running. What makes this time different, would you say?
Yeah. So this time, I actually have 4 years of experience on my belt. I actually have accomplished bringing the community together, bringing consensus among the commission, and getting results. I've actually got more laws passed in the last 4 years than the mayor's gotten done in the last 12 years. I'm connected to the community, and she's disconnected to the community. You cannot have a mayor that represents a diverse community who votes against celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, who says publicly at a commission meeting, I don't want to celebrate Caribbean Heritage Month. You can't have someone who's a proud Trump supporter in light of what damage he has caused in this country and continues to cause, with the fact that he has who knows what kind of documents, secret files that no one should have access to outside of a few selected individuals.
That is not a storage issue, y'all. Don't believe that lie. That was not a storage issue. That is like a national security issue.
Yes, which can endanger so many people, not just in the country, but also outside the country. Our partners, our interests, and other high-level people that are here to protect our country. But finally, in my view, she doesn't have a vision for the future of Tamarac. I have a vision for the future of Tamarac. I want to create a office of senior health and wellness for the seniors in our community. We still have a large number of seniors in our community, and we have two types of seniors, or two different contrasting seniors. We have seniors that are doing very well. They save for their retirement. They have a pension plan, and they plan well, and they're living very well. Then we have another aspect of seniors who are living off their retirement income, paycheck to paycheck, maybe still need to get a part-time job or need to get support from their relatives, and we need to be able to pair those seniors who are struggling with the right community resources so they can get the assistance they need, so they don't get kicked out of their homes and have to go to a homeless shelter in their last days of life. One of the things
we lost the sound.
We lost your sound. We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Mike. Mike.
We texted.
Yeah. And I don't think he can hear us.
Yeah. He's still talking. We can't hear him.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. Did you get a call? Did you get a call?
He did.
Yeah, did you get a call? Hold on, let me see if I can.
You take him out and bring him back?
Let me move him down. Okay. And let me put him back. Let's see. No. Hang up, and call back. Yeah, this is
what happened with technology, y'all. Sometimes that happens, but it's a very good conversation so far. We're not going to keep him too much longer.
Yeah, I'm excited about some of the things that he has coming up. It's great to hear candidates that have a vision and ask things to back it up. You know what I mean? I just like that.
And they understand like what's happening in their community, and that just means that he's really paying attention, because when you become an elected official, you're there to represent everybody in that community, you know. And you have to
and whatever you need to do to make sure everyone is represented is what you should do. So,
and definitely one of the things I want to tell him is that he's an example of like why representation matters, right? Because you do need to have somebody who understands all different aspects of the community.
Okay, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Perfect.
All right.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I didn't hit any button.
Yeah.
So I was saying that, I think you heard the part about the Office of Senior Health and Wellness.
Yes.
Okay.
The difference is some retirees have made money and other ones may not have planned so good for whatever reason, and they want them to be homeless.
Yeah, and so they're living paycheck to paycheck. The second thing I want to do, and very important, is I want to conduct a forensic audit, which I pushed but did not get support on, because we had a city manager who was arrested and indicted for his role in a $3.4 million extortion scheme, trying to screw one of the vendors in the city of Tamarac. And I don't know what other potential crimes he may have committed. So in order to make sure that we are monitoring the tax dollars that have been spent, we need to conduct a forensic audit to make sure that he wasn't stealing from the city of Tamarac as well. And I believe that he may have. But that can't be uncovered unless we do a forensic audit. We need to have more programs for our youth. We have programs for our very young children. We have programs for adults and for seniors, but we don't have enough programs for kids in those critical middle school and teenage years. When that incident happened with DeLuca Roll, that's a situation that should have never happened. But we have to provide resources, because as you know, as parents, sometimes you work in those hours between 3 and 5 when kids get off from school. So they need a safe and productive place to go to so they can exercise their mind and their body in a healthy manner and not get involved in situations that can lead to trouble. I want to expand opportunities for small businesses. I want to lower property taxes, attract more businesses to the city of Tamarac, and have a higher quality workforce, and bring in more attractive businesses and restaurants so we can truly make this city a place that we can live, work, and play, and also retire, which we're already known for.
Okay, so I have to tell you, like during the pandemic, Mike was dropping checks off to small businesses.
He sure was.
It was grant money and everything, and he got the receipts for, like, he went to the businesses, handed the people, I think something like $2,500, $10,000. He was putting in the work. He saw, like, wherever the fund, I ain't gonna say I know where the funding came, but I think something might have been COVID relief money, CARE Act money, whatever it was. I'm not sure, but he was putting in that work, taking money to small businesses, delivering it, giving it to them. And that could have been the difference between, like, we didn't make the rent money this month, you know what I mean? And they're able to stay open like a few more months. So we saw that commitment, and it's documented way before, it's documented that he did it.
Absolutely.
And the lowering the property tax is like, how could you do that, right? Because
I actually did that.
They can't do it for real. So how you gonna do that?
So I did that, we did that for the last 2 years, and I led the effort both years, because we just look at the data, and the data shows that in the city of Tamarac, property values went up from $4.8 billion to $5.3 billion. And if we kept the tax rate the same, residents would have had a significant increase, and Tamarac would have received a significant increase in revenue as well. But if we lower the property tax rate by a couple of points, then Tamarac still would get more money than we got in the last couple of years, and we would be able to give residents a break so that they pay about what they paid last year, or a similar amount. In a difficult year where we have high inflation, high home prices, high insurance costs, HOA fees, special assessments, people are facing all kinds of increases. Somebody needs to give our residents a break, and I felt we were in a position to, given that we were still going to get a lot of revenue. So after a 6-hour wait, because it takes a supermajority to get the tax rate passed, myself and Commissioner Bolton, we held firm on having lowering the property taxes to no more than 7.0 mils. And after 6 hours, the mayor fought against it. She finally broke and agreed to give the taxpayers a break. She didn't want to. We forced her to.
Okay.
And it was just being a tough negotiator. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so the higher quality workforce, you said that too.
Yes.
How do you do that? Like, how do you are you bringing people in? You're getting it from the folks that are already there. How do you get a higher quality workforce?
So we do that by we own a lot of city land, and so we need to partner with organizations that want to and provide incentives that want to relocate to Tamarac. And we ask them to build Class A office space that will attract Class A type businesses. We have hospital facilities and hospital related organizations in the city of Tamarac. We now have a lot of market rate apartments. We also have great market rate homes. Now we got to bring market rate jobs. And then you can truly become a city where you can live, work, and play. Right now, we're a city where if you're a teacher, a store manager, you're making some decent money, it's getting a lot less affordable for many people to live, not just in Tamarac, but in Broward County. And so we need to do a better job about addressing affordable housing. But for those that can afford some of the market rate prices that we have here, we got to attract those jobs. We got to be able to attract lawyers and doctors and other professionals to live in the city of Tamarac.
But would that be at the expense of folks that already live there? Because I heard they're
No.
building like 500,000 houses in Lauderhill. I think his thing froze.
Probably froze.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. They want to bring these companies in, but is it at the expense of the folks that already live there?
Yeah. So
is that at the expense of residents that already live there? If you're trying to bring in certain professionals that make more money, how does that affect the people that's already there that want to stay too?
Yeah. So we have people that work as lawyers and doctors in the city of Tamarac. In the city, that work at the hospitals and work at firms, but they drive off, they leave, they don't live in the city of Tamarac. So because we've been building market rate rent apartments and homes for the last few years, but now we need to focus on building affordable homes, and now we need to focus on whenever we have a new development coming on board, we have to make sure that either 25% or 50% of that new development includes workforce/affordable housing. And what I don't like, and what people make the mistake of believing, that affordable housing, that means you're building projects or making homes for poor people. No, it means we need to make sure that whatever we build, it has to be decent enough for anyone to want to live in, regardless of your income level. But no, we have a true affordable housing crisis all over Broward County, and we need to do a better job of making sure our developers build affordable housing whenever we have new development opportunities or redevelopment opportunities.
Marnie?
Well, so you've answered most, if not all, the questions, and we're excited. So what I've heard is that community engagement is one of your top things. Being responsible fiscally for Tamarac residents is another top thing. Making sure that everybody is the whole city is inclusive. We love to hear that from candidates. We appreciate that. And we know that you're doing daddy time. So we're going to just tell you now.
So I wanted to ask one last thing about transportation. What's the transportation like in Tamarac for people who can't, how you get around that place? I'm going to keep asking that until somebody figure out Broward County need to do better, but go ahead. What's
I'm glad you brought that up.
Like?
I'm glad you brought that up because at a recent commission meeting, I introduced the idea of bringing Ride Freebie to the city of Tamarac. Mm-hmm. Ride Freebie is in 31 of the 34 cities in the city of Tamarac. I'm sorry, in Miami-Dade County. Excuse me one second. Davo, come here. Davo. Yeah, so Ride Freebie is in 31 out of 34 cities in Tamarac. And basically the way it works is it works like Uber, except you don't pay. So the city will designate several delivery points, saying the Tamarac Community Center, local Publix, a local hospital. And so anyone can download the Ride Freebie app and get a free ride from their home to whatever destination they have. And what this does is it reduces traffic flow. It is harmless to the environment because they're all electric vehicles, including Tesla vehicles. You have ambassadors of the city now that has another set of eyes and ears on the community, so they can keep crime low. And we provide a convenient resource and convenient transportation to all residents, especially our citizens, many of whom don't have transportation anymore. So it's a great program. 31 out of 34 cities in Miami-Dade has it. Sunrise, I believe, is the first city in Brown County to have it. They spoke at our commission meeting 1 or 2 meetings ago, and my goal is to bring them back before my term is up, so that can be implemented before my first term is over.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Ride Freebie, y'all.
Ride Freebie. Check it out.
All right. So tell us, tell the people how they can reach you, how they can volunteer for you. Are you still accepting donations?
Yes.
Tell us all where we
yes.
Yes. So we're leading in fundraising, but we don't want to rest on our laurels. We've been endorsed by 11 different organizations, including the Broward Democratic Party, the Broward Democratic Black Caucus, the Latino Vote,
I think Dolphin Downs,
Dolphin Democrats, multiple organizations. Anyone can donate on our website, MikeGelin.com. I'm on social media, Mike for Tamarac, on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and we walk every weekend. So we get as many volunteers as possible. We meet at a park. We give everyone a list, and we go door to door, introduce ourselves to voters, and answer questions. So we have a strong campaign. We have a grassroots campaign. We're working very hard. We sent our first mailer out not too long ago. We've got more mailers coming. We've got a social media strategy and campaign. So we're excited, and we believe we're going to win.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Say something. We said hi. You don't have to put him on camera. Just have him say hi. Good job. And thanks for sharing his dad with us today.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, and thanks for providing this platform.
All righty. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. So what we decided we were going to do is take the commentary to Instagram. So tell them that our Instagram handle, so if they want to come and talk and chat with us and give us some feedback.
Same name, Race and the Races on Instagram.
Race and the Races with some with the lines in between.
Underscore. So it's race underscore and underscore the underscore races. That's our name on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you can go see us there. We'd like to do the wrap up there. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on our page. Tell people, reach to the mountaintops. We do invite anyone to come on, not just elected officials or candidates. We like
shout out to Carlene Maxwell Williams. She had a birthday recently.
Happy birthday!
It's out of Lauderdale or Lauderdale Lakes. Sorry if I'm wrong.
Right. I think I want to say it's Lauderdale Lakes. I want to say it's
Lauderdale Lakes. Okay. Yeah. So great birthday, Lauderdale Lakes. Happy belated birthday. Doing some great work. She does some citizenship stuff. A lot of helping people become citizen drives. Like I think once a month I participated and helped out with it like a time or two. So yeah, doing great work for the people in that community.
Yeah, that's what we about. We about that.
All right, y'all. So we finna head on over to Instagram.
We're gonna go to Instagram. Come join us over there for our commentary. Again, it looks like I have a little problem going on. I'll be fine soon.
She's just getting used to it. It's her first time. First day, actually. First day.
It is.
But you have to just get over there and just talk natural because you look funnier when you try to avoid showing what it looks like.
But I am that. But that's the best I can do.
All righty, but let's stop talking because we messing up his video. See you guys on Instagram.
Yep.
Race. What is underscore race and the races, and there's a bunch of underscores in between. See y'all over there.
All right.